Good day, everyone. So, our report will tackle about the Sigmund Freud's psychosexual stages of development. But first, let's define what is psychosexual development. So, Freud believed that adult personality problems were the result of early experience in life. He believed that we go through five stages of psychosexual development, and that at each stage of development we experience pleasure in one part of the body than in others. And each stage has erogenous zones where pleasures and conflict are situated. Conflict resolved makes the child progress to another stage. If not resolved, frustration versus overindulgence, the child gets stuck and becomes fixated. The psychosexual development or stages are a period that a child goes through in its development. So, from birth to 6 years of age. So, during these stages, the personality develops such as the id, the ego, and the superego. So, a new conflict will be part of the child dynamics, looking for positive solution during the different stages. The conflict are not resolved will affect further development. So, these are the 5 stages of development according to Sigmund Freud. So, the oral, anal, phallic, latency, and the genital. So, mag-start muna tayo sa oral. So, the focus of pleasure is on the mouth. The mother's breast is the object of desire. So, consequence of unresolved conflict: oral fixation, smoking, biting nails, sarcastic, and critical. Oral stage. So, oral, the infant is entirely dependent upon caretakers. The infant also develop a sense of trust and comfort through this oral stimulation. In fixation occurs at this age. Freud believed that individuals would have issues with dependency or aggression. Oral fixation can result in drinking, eating, smoking, or nail-biting problems. This stage lasts 1.5 years. Itong oral stage, nag-occur siya between birth and the 2nd year of life. This stage is about experience of pleasure perceived through the mouth. This stage is related to eating and the pleasure from nursing on the nipples and sucking on the thumb. And then, this plays an essential role in the baby's first year of life. When babies are about a year old, they begin to wean. If caregivers do not handle this well, it can lead to conflict. So, what happens if the conflicts are not resolved at this stage? So, according kay Freud, the consequences of unresolved conflict at this age related to the mouth is probably smoking, overeating, excessive drinking, nail biting, excessive sarcasm, or too much criticism can be example of oral fixation. So, further stages will be explained by my group mates.
So here we're now at the 2nd stage of the psychosexual development. So it is called anal stage. In this 2nd stage of development, it occurs between 1.5 until 3 years of age, in which the child's greatest pleasure involves the anus or the eliminative functions associated with it. So, according to Freud, the anus is the main erogenous zone. Erogenous zone means it is located everywhere in the human body, and it can cause pleasure when it is stimulated. So, the anus, it is the main organ that triggers the pleasure of the child, and usually normally tayo nagko-control natin yung pantog natin, nagko-control natin yung way or kailan tayo magbababas, diba? Tapos somehow it it gains or nakaka-gain ng pleasure yung bata or yung child pag ginagawa niya yun. So, it is the anal stage. So, a child learns to respond to some demands of society, bowel and bladder control. Yun na. And then, in Freud's view, the exercise of anal muscles reduces tension. So during the anal stage, Freud believed that the primary focus of the libido was on controlling the bladder and bowel movements. So this stage lasts 1.5 to 3 years. So what happens if the conflicts are not resolved during this stage? So Freud suggests anal fixation tendencies can manifest in two different ways. So first is the anal retentive and anal expulsive. So in the anal retentive, it says here that it manifests in obsessive perfectionism. So ito siya, ito yung mga taong binibigyan pansin kahit na yung maliit lang na detalye, like kahit konting mali nakikita nila, konting detail, they are distracted by few details, and then it becomes an obsession, and it can be annoying to anyone. So obsessive perfectionism, that's the term. And then anal repulsive, which manifests in disorder and thoughtlessness. According to Freud, success at this stage is a development of the way in which parents approach toilet training. So, developing this control leads to a sense of accomplishment and independence. So, meaning, this control kapag yung bata is they develop the control, or they accomplish it with the help of their parent. They accomplish it. They develop a sense of accomplishment though, and they feel independent towards themselves. So parents who utilize praise and rewards for using the toilet at the appropriate time encourage positive outcomes, and it helps children feel capable and produce. So Freud believed that the positive experiences during this stage served as the basis for people to become competent, or he is capable of, she has a skill, a ability, knowledge to do something successfully. So productive and creative, like artist, like that. And then we are going to the stage 3, or the phallic stage. It occurs between the ages of 3 to 6 years. And then the word phallic comes from the Latin word phallus, which means the penis. So during this stage, pleasure focuses on the genitals as the child discovers that self-stimulation is enjoyable. So it is understandable naman. And then during the stage, or the phallic stage, the primary focus of the libido is on the genitals. So at this stage, children also begin to discover the differences between males and females, right? So they begin to distinguish that male and female have differences physically. So Freud also believed that boys begin to view their father as the rival for the mother's affection. So there are two complexes according to Freud in the phallic stage. So first is Oedipus complex. So it describes the feelings of wanting to possess the mother and the desire to replace the father. So little boys getting in touch to their mother. So it's quite interesting. So yeah. And then Electra complex. So it has been used to describe the similar set of feelings experienced by young girls. So Oedipus And Electra is the same, but Oedipus is for boys, and Electra is for girls. Okay, so little girls getting attached to their dad, that's Electra complex. So next is the importance of phallic stage. So Freud believed that penis envy was never fully resolved and that all women remain somewhat fixated on this stage. Yeah, so in Freud's view, the phallic stage has a special importance in personality. So we didn't need to tackle about it, but phallic stage, it focuses more on the genitals, both boys and girls. Okay, and that's all for phallic stages.
Tatalakayin natin ng latency, 6 years old to puberty. So, anong nangyari sa latency? By the word natin, latency kasi is nakatago. So, wala pa masyadong sexual drive kahit na siya ay nasa puberty stage na. So, ano ba yung ibig kong sabihin? Kasi dito sa latency, para siyang nagkakaroon ng, if tatatandaan yung defense mechanism ng sublimation, so, nalilipat siya doon. Ang kanyang parang sexual drive napapalitan. Yung sexual drive na iniisip ng isang tao, usually kapag nasa older na is nangyayari kasi sa kanila, pupunta sila is sa more on sa pag-aaral, enjoyment sa laro, sa basketball, sa mga ganyan, bonding with friends, mga ganyan. Ina-direct nila pupunta yung kanilang sexual mind or libido tungkol sa kanilang mga ari. Last part na tayo ng ating psychosexual ni Sigmund Freud, which is genital stage. So, kailan nga ba ito nangyayari? From puberty to adult stage. So, sa mga edad na po natin, kasi tapos na tayo sa puberty. Hindi na tayo teenager, so dito na tayo sa adult stage. So, andyan pa rin tayo sa genital stage kahit na ikaw ay nasa adult or matanda ay nandito ka pa rin sa genital stage. So, ano bang ibig sabihin nitong genital stage? Kung kanina sa latency is kasublimate sila sa mga laro, games, or bonding with friends, sa genital stage naman is dito na nila na-define kung ano ba talaga yung sexual or libidos na sinasabi sa genital stage is nasa heterosexual na ang kanilang mga gusto. So, anong ibig kong sabihin is opposite sex na syempre may gusto ka ng iba, may crush ka na, may binamahal ka ng iba, pero ka ng karelasyon. So dyan na rin pumapasok yung sexual contact. Parang opposite lang ng oral kasi yung bata is pag kinikiss mo sila is natutuwa lang sila, hindi nila naisip ang kalibugan, parang nasasarapan lang sila sa pagkaramdam or happy lang sila na kinikiss. Di pa nila na-explain maayos yung nararamdaman nila sa sarili nila, di katulad sa genital stages. Nalalaman nila ng ligaya, enjoyment or sexual desire na nararamdaman ng bawat tao. So, yun lang.
The first topic we will discuss is development. So what is development? Development, it is the emotional bond formed between the early caregiver and the infant phase that ways from helping attachment in the later years. So development, it is the encompasses the dynamic construction and deconstructions of negative characteristics that distinguish of individual terms of interpersonal behavior traits. Personality development, it is the ever-changing and subject to contextual factors and life-altering experiences. Personality, this develop is also demonstrational and description of subjects in nature. And that is, the personal development can be seen as a continuum varying in degree of intensity and change. It is a subjective in nature because it is a conceptualization. It's rooted in social norms for expected behavior, self-expression, and personal growth. The dominant viewpoint in the personality psychology indicates that personal emerges early and continue to develop across one's lifespan. Other personality to develop across are to believe to have a basis in infant temperament. Meaning to say that every individual's difference in the positions and behavior appear early in life, potentially before language of conscious life representation develop. The next one is theory of separation and individuation. So separation and individuation, can be viewed as a psychological birth of the infant, which occurs over of the period of time when a child separates from the mother and begins to individuate. Mahler shed a light to the normal and abnormal feature of the development ego psychology. So what is normal autism? The first 4 weeks of life that infants spend more time in sleep-like states than in states of our soul by Mahler 1967 rather. Experience centers on interstimuli such as hunger, elimination, and ability comforts. So normal autism is the problem with ASD. Often have problem with social communications and interactions and restricted or repetitive behavior or interest. People with ASD may also have a different ways to learning, moving, or paying attentions. What is normal symbiosis? So, the normal symbiotic states starting in the birth or the 3rd or 4th week result from the maturation and sensor process. The infant shows increased awareness of the outside world, as indicated by the states of alert inactivity. So the normal symbiosis is the symbiotic phase lasts through the first 6 months of life and occurs when the child gains awareness to caregivers but has no sense of individuality. The separation and individuations phase that takes place at about 4 or 5 months as the child begins to develop a sense of self separate from the mother. So we have 4 types of theory of separation and individuations. So number 1 is which is the differentiation. Number 2 is practicing, and number 3 is reapproachment, and number 4 is object constancy. So number 1 is differentiation. So differentiation are differentiations called hatching the spans 4 to 10 months of age. Hatching or psychological birth is the phase in which the infant differentiates out of the symbiotic unit. It is characterized by more alert states with distinct periods of wakefulness. So practicing is a cure from about 6 to 10 months and up to 18 months of age. It presents a shift to more autonomous functioning and is divided into 2 parts: early practicing and practicing proper. So the next one is reapproachment. So spans the age of approximately 15 to 24 months and is characterized behaviorally by an active approach back to the caregiver. So that toilet training, it is often begins at this stage, leading to further struggles with autonomy and control. So that the infant is able to move away from caretaker. by crawling, climbing, and pulling itself up to holding onto the supporting object. During its explorations, the infant checked to back to the caregiver to emotionally refuel using caretaker as a secure base. Into other words, is reassured about the availability of the caretaker by 1958. Well, the next one is object content state. The period spans at the age of 24 to 36 months and involved to all aspects of the previous stage. In the particular, the trust and confidence of the symbiotic phases of Mahler 1972. There are the advances of conditions with representational truth and the uses of the language. Children have inner pictures of the caretaker and their relationship with the caretaker, which has as a result of the shooting, grieving, and organizing functions that the caretaker provides by Tolstoy 1971. Well, we need to say the object content state is a psychodynamic concept, and we could think of it as emotional equivalent of object or permanence. So, to develop this skill, we mature into the understand that our caregiver is simultaneously a loving presence and separate individual who could walk away.